This is this, and that is that.
And there's how you address a cat. Meow. Okay. Well, the first time I was in Korea was in 2010, and that was for an event called One Asia, where I represented my country. So that was my first time, and I was only here for about 4 days, so it wasn't enough time for me to explore the city. I had the best time though, eating lots of Korean barbecues. So this time is slightly different because we are in Korea for quite a period of time, and I'm extremely excited to experience being a local or living locally. So yeah.
Oh, I'm nervous, I'm excited, I would say, is how I would put it. I'm always excited to perform in Korea because it's my favorite audience. Has been for now, oh my gosh, 15 years was the first time I performed here.
Well, we've been doing a lot of improvisations. We're still at rehearsal period, and we're doing a lot of improvisations, and to make sure that every detail and every element of being a cat is there, all the physicality of a cat.
Even within the music, there's some things that are cat-like. Little things that Kristen has even added that I think bring out the sounds and the quality of like a cat would, as opposed to a human singing. But yeah, all the physicality and everything, I constantly am asking for help. Being a little older now, my body doesn't quite move as agile as a cat does. And so I'm always asking Chrissy and the other younger choreographers to just help in my physicality of it, and they're amazing. It's absolutely amazing process.
And it's always fresh because there's always that new energy with a new cast. So it's completely different from the past productions that I've done, which is, you know, wonderful in a way.
Absolutely, very different from the last time I did it, and it is. It's very exciting this time. I'm loving this company. I show you?
Show you.
You know the one thing that they always are telling, they're like, Brad, stop breaking your wrists. They want the wrists to always remain, you know, straight and forward. So, and I find whenever I like go home and I'm like waving to my baby girl, I'm like, hi honey, hi. And I'm like, why am I doing that now? You know, it's like I can do this, but I'm like, hi. I'm like doing everything as a cat now. Even outside of rehearsals.
I find it really difficult. The easiest part for me would be the singing part, I think. But yeah, I mean, thank God, because my character is actually more human.
Both of ours are.
Yes, our
I would say of the two on the stage, and Rum Tum Tugger. Yeah, we don't have to be quite cat-like.
Yes, so I suppose it's more relatable for the audiences as well. So yeah, I mean, it's never comfortable when you have to feel like you're a cat. So you're constantly focused and concentrated when you're on stage, and you know, always trying to think of what would my cat do, or how would my cat react, or how would the body react a certain way. So yeah, it's never easy. So you have to be constantly focused. It's tiring, but you know, that's why we're here. We have to do those things.
That's right. That's exactly right. I never thought I would have to play a cat on the stage. But, you know, I think one of the things is you just hope you don't forget something. I mean, there's just so much detail, especially with Old Deuteronomy. I've got so many lines and colors that I have to deal with. I mean, you look at my palette, as we call it, all of the makeup that we have, and you just know you're going to forget one or two lines. That's probably my biggest stress. But I love doing my own makeup just because it actually does help me get into character. It helps me escape my world from the outside and come really into the magic of making theater. And that whole process of the makeup and doing it is extremely therapeutic for me before I go on the stage.
Yeah, same for me. It's part of my routine now, just like the vocal warm-up that we do and the physical warm-up. The makeup is part of my acting process. So it gets me to a very meditative state, which I believe my cat also is one of her traits. Well, my cat has 3 keywords. Actually, every cat has 3 keywords, and mine are proud, hurt, and indomitable. And I hope that will come across in my interpretation. It is one of my challenges, actually, because I'm not always on stage. So as soon as I get on that stage, I have to make sure that I take the audience through my journey. And I can only be as truthful as I can be with the text, with how I interpret the songs, and hopefully that is relatable to the audiences. Because again, I only have a few minutes on stage, and I have to make sure that I take them to that level, to that state, and take them to that journey, through that journey with me. So, yeah.
It's like the Phantom in that way.
Oh, yeah,
he's got a very
true.
limited
That's
time
very
on
true.
stage, and he's just got to make it impactful
Yeah.
when he
You need to grab the audience as soon
Absolutely.
as you're on stage.
Absolutely. I always think of Old Deuteronomy as actually like my father. My father is definitely the leader of my family, and he leads by example. He also doesn't push and force and tell his family what he has to do, what they must do. He lets them learn. He lets them discover it in their own ways, but just guides them, keeps them in the containment line so that they can be better cats, if you will. And for us, it was just to be better people from what my father did. And honestly, the role of Old Deuteronomy and my father are just so similar.
Well, memory is actually taken from this poem, which is not in the book Practical Cats. It's taken from another poem of T.S.Elliot, which is called Rhapsody on a Windy Night. And they've taken excerpts from that poem to put into memory and Remark the Cat. So, and it is slightly dark, and as far as I know, it was meant to be in the book, but then they took it out because it was way too dark for the kids. So, yeah. Meow. Rhapsody on a Windy Night. 1:30. The street sputtered. The street lamp muttered. The street lamp said, "Regard that woman who hesitates towards you in the light of the door, which opens on her like a grin. You see the border of her dress is torn and stained with sand, and you see the corner of her eye twists like a crooked pin."
Yes and no. We want to tell the story of the poems that T.S.Eliot wrote, but we also have the music that Andrew Lloyd Webber has put into these words. Sometimes it's a little difficult, but it's our job to make at least the story and the meaning of these poems to come through. Would I read it if I'm just reading the text differently than if I'm singing? Of course I would, but there are times when the music actually does help the words and the lyrics of the poem, and it's beautiful when they do match like that. But yes, there's a difference in interpretation. Meow. Old Deuteronomy's lived a long time. He's a cat who has lived many lives in succession. He was famous in proverb and famous in rhyme, a long while before Queen Victoria's accession. Old Deuteronomy's buried 9 wives, and more, I'm tempted to say 99. And his numerous progeny prospers and thrives, and the village is proud of him in his decline. At the sight of that placid and bland physiognomy, When he sits in the sun on the vicarage wall, the oldest inhabitant croaks, "Well, of all things can it be? Really? No? Yes? Oh, hi! Oh, my eye! Eyesight may be failing, but yet I confess I believe it is old Deuteronomy."
Meow. The addressing of cats. You've read of several kinds of cats, and my opinion now is that you should need no interpreter to understand their character. You now have learned enough to see that cats are much like you and me, and other people whom we find possessed of various types of mind.
For some are sane and some are mad. Some are good, some are bad, and some are better, some are worse. But all may be described in verse. You've seen them both at work in games and learned about their proper names, their habits, and their habitat. But how would you address a cat? So,
this is
this, and that is that.
And there's how you address a cat. Meow. We are inviting you all to come and see us in Cats the Musical, which will open on September 9th.
At the Charlotte Theater.
Yes.
Many of you I know, the Charlotte Theater is a beautiful theater and we are all excited to be going there. So we look forward to all of you returning, for all you cat lovers, but if you've never seen the show, you must come see this production.
Yes. And we're celebrating the
40th anniversary
of the show as well.
So it's there's a reason that it's been around for 40 years.
Oh, yes.
So come see why for 40 years it's lived so long, more than 9 lives.
Don't miss it.